Yashodanandana Braja Janaranjana Yamunatira Vanachari Yamunatira Vanachari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Hare Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Jaya Radha Kalachandji, Radha Kalachandji Shri Radhe. Jaya Prabhupada, 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 Srila Prabhupada. Jaya Jaya Prabhupada, 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 Jaya Jaya Prabhupada. Jaya Jaya Gurudev, 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 Jaya Jaya Gurudev. Gaur Premanande, Hari Hari Bol. Hare Krishna. Prabhu, is it possible I could get the Bhagavatam? Is there here already? Today's speaker's choice. So we were on the canto. I'm sorry, I didn't have much time to prepare for anything, so I just thought we'll just continue from the conversations where we had from the last class. I'll just try to say a few things. So today we'll be discussing we are actually reading from the 8th canto of the Srimad Bhagavatam every day. So the 8th canto, specifically talks about one of the aspects of the Srimad Bhagavatam called Manvantara. So any Purana has 10 topics. Sarga Visargascha Sthanam Poshana Utaya Manvantara Ishanukata Nirodha Mukti Ashraya. So today's, the 8th canto specifically talks about one of the topics, which is called Manvantara, the incarnations and the activities of the Manu. So before we begin anything auspicious, we have to do Mangala Charana. So Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami teaches us in the Chaitanya Charitamrita, say Mangala Charana hoy 3 vidya prakar, Vastu Nirdesha Ashirvad Ara Namaskar. So there are 3 aspects on why we should do Mangala Charana. Vastu Nirdesha, it tells us what is the object of our worship. Ashirvad, it invokes blessings. And Namaskar, it is to offer obeisances. So before we begin, let us do Mangala Charana. After that, then we will start our discussions on the Bhagavatam. All of you know these prayers, so please feel free to repeat. Om Ajnanatimirandasya Gnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurun Militam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Shri Chaitanya Mano Bhishtam Sthapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamayam Dadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Sri Guru Shri Yuta Padakamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavamscha Shri Rupam Sakrajatam Sahagana Raghunathanvitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Sri Vishakhanvitamscha Nama Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Presthaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swami Niti Namine Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvisesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshatarine Jai Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. So last class, Prabhu, I think it was Nand Kumar Prabhu, he did text 23. So, and I think according to the schedule, tomorrow's speaker is going to speak on text 25. So we will do text 24. So this 8th canto is a very interesting canto. It specifically talks about, as I mentioned, the Manvantaras. The 8th canto is titled Withdrawal of the Cosmic Manifestations. So if you have a smartphone, maybe you can pull it up. This is 8th canto, chapter 5, text 24. 8:5:24. Shri Shuka Uvacha Iti Abhyasya Suran Veda Sahadevair Arindama Ajitasya Padam Sakshaj Jagama Tamasaparam. Shri Shuka Uvacha Iti Abhasya Suran Veda Sahadevair Arindama Ajitasya Padam Sakshaj Jagama Tamasaparam. Shri Shuka Uvacha Iti Abhasya Suran Veda Sahadevair Arindama Jagama Tamasa Ajitasya padam sakshaj jagama tamasa param. Please chant. Shri Shuka Vacha Iti Abhashya Suran Veda Sahadevair Arindama Ajitasya Padam Sakshaj Jagama Tamasa Param. Shri Shuka Uvacha Iti Abhasya Suran Veda Sahadevair Arindama Ajitasya Padam Sakshaj Jagama Tamasa Param. Shri Shuka Uvacha Itya Bhasya Shuran Veda Sahadevair Arindama Ajitasya Padam Sakshaj Jagama Tamasa Param. So synonyms, translations and purport by His Divine Grace Abhay Charan Aravinda Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. Shri Shuka Uvacha, Shri Sukadev Goswami said, Iti, thus, Abhasya, talking, Suran, unto the demigods, Veda, Lord Brahma, who is the head of the universe, and who gives everyone good sense in Vedic knowledge. Saha, with Devai, the demigods. Arindama, O Maharaj Parikshit, subduer of all kinds of enemies, such as the senses. Ajitasya, of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Padam, to the place. Sakshat, directly. Jagama, went. Tamasa, the world of darkness. Param, transcendental to, beyond. Translation. O Maharaj Parikshit, subduer of all enemies, after Lord Brahma finished speaking to the demigods, he took them with him to the abode of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, which is beyond this material world. The Lord's abode is on an island called Shvetadvip, which is situated in the ocean of milk. Purport. Maharaj Parikshit is addressed here as Arindama, subduer of all enemies. Not only do we have enemies outside of our bodies, but within our bodies there are many enemies, such as lusty desires, anger, and greed. Maharaj Parikshit is specifically addressed as Arindama because in his political life, he was able to subdue all kinds of enemies. And even though he was a young king, as soon as he heard that he was going to die, though he was a young, within 7 days, he immediately left his kingdom. He did not follow the dictates of enemies within his body, such as lust, greed, and anger. He was not at all angry with the Muni's son who had cursed him. Rather, he accepted the curse and prepared for his death in the association of Shukadev Goswami. Death is inevitable. No one can surpass the force of death. Therefore, Maharaj Parikshit, while fully alive, wanted to hear Srimad Bhagavatam. He is consequently addressed here as Arindama. Another word, Surapriya, is also significant. Although Krishna, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, is equal to everyone, he is especially inclined towards his devotees. Ye bhajanti tumam bhaktya mai te teshu chapyaham. The devotees are all demigods. There are two kinds of men within this world. One is called the Deva and the other is called the Asura. The Padma Purana states, Dvau bhuta sargau lokesmin daivasura evacha Vishnu bhakta smrito daiva asuras tad viparyaya. Anyone who is a devotee of Lord Krishna is called a Deva, and others, even though they may be devotees of demigods, are called Asuras. Ravana, for example, was a great devotee of Lord Shiva, but he is described as an Asura. Similarly, Hiranyakashipu is described as a great devotee of Lord Brahma, yet he was also an Asura. Therefore, only the devotee of Lord Vishnu is called Sura, not Asura. Lord Krishna is very much pleased with his devotees, and even if they are not on the topmost stage of devotional service, I'll repeat that line again. Lord Krishna is very much pleased with his devotees, even if they are not on the topmost stage of devotional service. Even on the lower stages of devotional service, one is transcendental. And if one continues with devotional life, he continues to be a Deva or Sura. If one continues in this way, Krishna will always be pleased with him and will give him all instructions so that he may very easily return home back to Godhead. Concerning Ajitasya Padam, the abode of the Supreme Personality of Godhead in the milk ocean of this material world, Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur says, Padam Kshirodhadi stha Shvetadvipam Tamasa Prakriter Param. The island known as Shvetadvip, which is in the ocean of milk, is transcendental. It has nothing to do with this material world. A city government may have a rest house where the governor and important government officers stay. Such a rest house is not an ordinary house. Similarly, although Shvetadvip, which is in the ocean of milk, is in this material world, it is Parampadam, transcendental. So the verse again, O Maharaj Parikshit, subduer of all enemies, after Lord Brahma finished speaking to the demigods, he took them with him to the abode of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, which is beyond this material world. The Lord's abode is on an island called Shvetadvip, which is situated in the ocean of milk. So here Maharaj Parikshit is addressed as Arindama, subduer of the enemies. That means Maharaj Parikshit had enemies, but they were powerless before Maharaj Parikshit. When the sages at Naimisharanya, they asked Suta Goswami 6 questions, and when Suta Goswami gave them a brief synopsis, the sages were not satisfied, and they further asked 3 more questions. And one of the questions was, please describe about the activities of Maharaj Parikshit. And we can see that Maharaj Parikshit was such a great ruler that he was even powerful enough to chastise the personification of all sin, Kali. Kali couldn't stand in front of Maharaj Parikshit. So this is kind of important for a leader, is he should be able to have the authority to chastise, as they say in the corporate world, nip it in the bud. So not have any tolerance for any nonsense. We see from the Bhagavatam that Maharaj Parikshit, he was able to withstand the power of Brahmastra. Now, if you know the Brahmastra, so if you take all the material weapons that we have today, they are not even equal to a little bit of the power of Brahmastra. That is how powerful the Brahmastra was. And this Astra was so sophisticated that it can attack only the target. So Brahmastra, when Ashwatthama released, even though Maharaj Parikshit was in the womb of his mother Uttara, the Brahmastra would not harm Uttara. It would only attack Maharaj Parikshit. And we can see that Maharaj Parikshit was able to withstand the mercy of the Brahmastra by the Supreme Lord. Now, this is not possible for ordinary living entities. So, we can see that in the current scenario in today's modern world, there are so many wars going on, and even small missiles or bombs which are dropped, kill hundreds and millions of people. But this missile, this Brahmastra, which you can see that in the previous ages, the effect was on the basis of mantra. But today, as the degradation of the age comes, the impact is on yantra, right? We are more impacted by yantras, by phones and so many gadgets than by mantra. But this is something that previously the influence was more on the mantra than on yantra. And because we have lost the ability to understand and process, we are not able to even recite some of these mantras. But you can see that how powerful the age of Kali is, that we are losing our ability to even recite some mantras. And Maharaj Parikshit was so great that he could even chastise the personification of Kali. You can just imagine how great this personality is. And Maharaj Parikshit was given the personal darshan of the Lord. Sometimes when our spiritual master comes to town, it is if we get a personal darshan of even our spiritual master, it's like we'll consider ourselves lucky. And imagine the Supreme Lord comes to give a personal darshan of Maharaj Parikshit in the womb. How great Maharaj Parikshit must be. When Maharaj Parikshit was born, it is mentioned here in the first canto, 12th chapter, 26th verse. Maharaj Parikshit, he was, when he was born, his grandfather, Maharaj Yudhishthir, had done called the astrologers and brahmanas to read his astrological chart. And one of the things the sages or the astrologers said, that this child will be the father of kings who will be like the sages. So we see Janamajaya was one of the sons, Maharaj Parikshit had two sons. And it says, for world peace and for the sake of religion, he will be the chastiser of the upstarts and the quarrelsome. See, Maharaj Parikshit, it's predicted that he will be the chastiser of the upstarts. Now, being a chastiser of the upstarts is kind of important function for any ruler. So anyone who's in management, they know this, that you have to nip it in the bud, otherwise it can grow like a cancerous disease. And this Kali Yuga is the age of hypocrisy, right? People are extremely pretentious. They say one thing and they mean another thing. And it is important that when there is a strong leader, this false mongering doesn't happen. Because the people are afraid of the punishment and the chastisement that the leader will give. So even when the people would go to the court of the king, and when they speak, they are afraid that if they are caught saying lies, they will be severely chastised. So Maharaj Parikshit was such a great leader that even before the fight, the enemy kings would come and offer their homage. We accept you as our master. So this is very important. So here Maharaj Parikshit is called the chastiser of the upstarts and the quarrelsome. So this age is the age of quarrel, right? People fight for no reason. And it is important that if you want to be in management, you need to have these qualities where you will be able to read between the lines. You'll be able to, first of all, you should be a good devotee, like Maharaj Parikshit. Second, you should be able to read in between the lines. You should be able to cut off any kind of nonsense that can harm our society. And Maharaj Parikshit was also the wisest man in the kingdom. Srila Prabhupada says that unless you are the wisest man, you will not be able to control all the other wise men in the society. So we have to, if you want to be in management, we can see that you have to be able to be very, very wise. You should be able to read people. You should be able to understand their nature and propensities and also guide them according to Shastra. So these are some of the qualities that we can see. You see, Lord Chaitanya, when in Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya, in his Sachi Sutta Ashtakam, he also praises Lord Chaitanya about this specific quality. The verse is Drita Kati Doraka Mandalu Dandam Divya Kalevara Mundita Mundam Durjana Kalmasha Khandana Dandam Tam Pranamami Cha Sri Sachitanayam Drita Kati Doraka Mandalu Dandam Divya Kalevara Mundita Mundam. And then the third line, Durjana Kalmasha Khandana Dandam. Durjana Kalmasha. Lord Chaitanya, he is able to chastise the sinful propensities of the people. He is able to annul their sinful reactions by his mercy. So the wicked people, their sinful reactions cannot stand in front of Lord Chaitanya. Tam pranamami cha Sri Sachitanayam. To that Lord Chaitanya, Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya says, he offers his obeisances. So if we want to live a life free of sin, then we have to take shelter of Lord Chaitanya, especially in this age of Kali Yuga, because neither do we have the power to recite properly the mantras, nor do we have good character, nor do we have the ability to follow anything. So it is important that we learn to accept the chastisement of the Lord, or our acharyas and our gurus and even our friends, and learn to take shelter of Lord Chaitanya. Here in the purport, Srila Prabhupada talks about death. He says, in the purport, he says, rather he accepted the curse and prepared for his death in the association of Shukadev Goswami. So this is very important, preparing for death. In the Bhagavad Gita, Krishna talks about, in the Bhagavad Gita there are 18 chapters. 17 of them teach you how to live. There is one chapter which teaches you how to die. That is the 8th chapter. And the name of this chapter is called Attaining the Supreme. Right? So it's very important that we prepare for death. In the Bhagavad Gita, in the Srimad Bhagavatam, in the 2nd canto, there is a verse which says, Ayur harati vaipumsan udyan ashtau chayan naso tasyarte yakshano nita uttama shloka vartaya. That by the rising and setting of the sun, the duration of life of everyone is reduced, except those persons who are uttama shloka vartaya, who discuss the topics of the personality of Godhead, who is praised in great verses, uttama shloka. So, if we want to conquer death, then we read the Srimad Bhagavatam on a daily basis. This is the remedy for all ailments. And we see this in the 1st canto, where Narada Muni, he is telling his disciple Vyasadeva Tadvag visargo janataga viplavo yashmin pratishloki abadyavatyapi namani yasho ankitani yat shrinvanti gayanti grinanti sadhava. It's basically this literature, even though it may be imperfectly composed, it is full of the descriptions of the name, fame, qualities and pastimes of the Lord. And it is of a different creation. It is not like a material book. And anyone who reads this book, Janataga Viplavo, there is a revolution within the heart. And there is a revolution within the misdirected civilization. So this is such a powerful literature. And Shrinvanti, Yasmin Pratishloke Abadyavatyapi. So every verse is meant for the purification of all men. So studying the Bhagavatam is the best way to conquer death. And we see this in the life of Parikshit Maharaj. He sat and he just heard the Bhagavatam. And if we just do that, then Udyan Nashtau Chayan Nasau, then by the setting of the sun, it doesn't take away our life. And we will continue, we will be taking one step towards eternal life. So Srimad Bhagavatam, so this book is called Srimad. Shri here is also meaning great opulence, fortune. And anyone who takes shelter of Shri, right? They are blessed with spiritual opulences. Shri here also refers to Srimati Radharani. Srimad Bhagavatam is replete with the mercy and potency of Srimati Radharani. And if we want to understand Bhagavan, we take shelter of Srimad Bhagavatam, and the Bhagavatam will reveal to us the Lord. So here we have to understand that Maya can give us so many distractions, and we have to learn to take to this shelter, to the culture of Srimad Bhagavatam. I just met with my family, and we were celebrating a birthday. So, we sing happy birthday to you. And I was just reflecting on this one particular aspect, that the Jiva, he is given a material body. We don't want to die. We don't want to grow old. We don't want to get diseased. But we are forced to accept a material body. And then, it is like basically Maya takes a whipping stick and beats you and throws you in a material body. And then we sing happy birthday to you. It is basically like, a person who's thrown in a jail, and it's like, oh, I spent 10 years in the jail. Happy birthday to you. I spent 50 years in the jail. Happy birthday to you. It is like we don't want to live in this material body. We don't want to be engaged. But we are forced to accept this material body. So I was thinking, Maya has got such wonderful varieties, ways to make us forget that we are actually engaged in this material body. Of course, this doesn't apply to devotees. Please don't think that Narahari Devdas is sitting on the altar, on the Vyasasana, and now he's saying, don't celebrate any birthdays. The birthdays of Vaishnavas are very, very auspicious. We see this in the Bhagavatam. When Maharaj Vidura, when Vidura comes to Hastinapur after the battle of Kurukshetra, Maharaj Yudhishthir, he tells him, Bhava Vida Bhagavatas Tirtha Bhuta Swayam Bhuvibho Tirti Kurvanti Tirtani Swantas Tena Gadabrata. He tells him that, my dear Lord, Bhava Vida Bhagavatas, you are personified Bhagavata, and Tirtha Bhuta Swayam Vibho, you are a Tirtha because within your heart, the Supreme Personality of Godhead is present. And tirti kurvanti tirtani. And you actually can even purify the places of pilgrimage. Svanta svena gadabrata. So, the devotees of the Lord are actually people who help purify this planet. So, but the point is, we have to understand that we have to prepare for death. And if we are attached to this body, dehatma buddhi, then it becomes very difficult and challenging. So let us look at opportunities on how we can prepare for death by taking shelter of Srimad Bhagavatam. In this verse, there is also another thing that's mentioned. One of the qualities of the Lord is called Surapriya. I'm just going to take a look here, see if I've... So the Lord is addressed as Surapriya, means he is very, very inclined to the devatas, to the demigods. And the demigods may not be pure devotees, but nevertheless, Krishna likes the demigods very much. And Srila Prabhupada says in the purport, Lord Krishna is very much pleased with his devotees, even if they are not on the topmost stage of devotional service. This is such a profound statement from Srila Prabhupada. So, we don't need to be great devotees. We need to be good devotees. We don't need to be great devotees. We need to be good devotees. And if we are good devotees, then irrespective of however advanced or we may be, Krishna is going to be pleased. So this is very, very important. And we see this, the Lord, he is equally pleased by the service which is done by, a great devotee like a Hanuman or even a small squirrel, right? Krishna, Lord Ram, he was equally pleased. So it is important that we cultivate truthfulness in our dealings, avoid hypocrisy in our practice of devotional service. So Krishna, he will love us irrespective of all our frailties. And even if we are not on the level where we need to be, even if we are not on the highest level, here Srila Prabhupada specifically writes that Krishna is very much pleased with his devotees, even if they are not on the topmost level. So this is something that we can try to meditate on. Srila Prabhupada writes in here, page 165 at the bottom, even on the lower stages of devotional service, one is transcendental. And if one continues with devotional life, he continues to be a deva or sura. If one continues in this way, Krishna will always be pleased with him and will give him all instructions so that he may very easily return home back to Godhead. So there is hope for even someone like me. Krishna is very, very kind even to all kinds of devotees. In this purport, there is a mention of Shvetadvip. And here, even though Shvetadvip is within this material world, it is considered as a Vaikuntha planet. In the 5th canto, there is a description of the diameter of Shvetadvip being greater than the diameter of the universe. But even though the Shvetadvip is within the universe, it is even larger than the universe. I don't know how it happens. It's pretty inconceivable. Here, in this particular verse, we see that Lord Brahma, he took all the demigods with him to the abode of the Supreme Lord, which is beyond this material world. So the demigods, when they are in trouble, they go to Lord Brahma, they offer prayers, and then Lord Brahma appeases everyone, and then he takes them from his planet and goes to Shvetadvip. So we see that in the Bhagavatam there is interplanetary travel. Right? And this is again by the power of mantra, not by yantra. And Lord Brahma, he's able to, when Lord Brahma takes the demigods to the Shvetadvip, he is able to just be by the border of the Shvetadvip, and there in Shvetadvip, Lord Brahma and the demigods, they sit in meditation and they pray. Lord Brahma prays to the Supreme Lord. So this particular planet, Vaikuntha planet, Shvetadvip, Jiva Goswami says that this is created by Ajita. So Ajita is the Lord who comes as Kurma in the incarnation, which will come in the later sections in this particular canto. Vikuntha, the son of Vikuntha, is Vaikuntha, and he is the person who actually creates this particular Vaikuntha or Shvetadvip. And this Shvetadvip, this planet, even though it is within this material world, it is not touched by Prakriti. It is not touched by the material energy. And if we want to take shelter of the Supreme Lord, then we just follow, just like the demigods, they went to their spiritual master, Lord Brahma. So in the same way, if we want to take shelter of the Supreme Lord, then we have a system called the Guru Parampara system. And simply by following the instructions of the spiritual master, we will be able to take shelter of the Supreme Lord, because the Parampara is the transparent medium. So a few thoughts here. Again, the verse, O Maharaj Parikshit, subduer of the enemies, after Lord Brahma finished speaking to the demigods, he took them with him to the abode of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, which is beyond this material world. The Lord's abode is on an island called Shvetadvip, which is situated in the ocean of milk. So just to recap, what did I discuss? First, we discussed about Arindama, Maharaj Parikshit being the subduer of the enemies, both external and internal. Then we talked about how the power of mantra is more powerful than yantras, and how in the age of Kali we are impacted by more by yantras, and we should learn to take shelter of mantras to elevate our consciousness. Then we spoke about how we can prepare for death, and by taking shelter of the Bhagavatam. Then we talked about how the Lord is called as Surapriya. He is very pleasing to the Devatas. And then we discussed about the island of Shvetadvip. So this is what is described here in this purport. In the next few days, we will have exalted devotees who will be speaking on this particular canto. And even previously, we had a lot of wonderful devotees describing. So I'm sorry I couldn't do much service, but this is whatever little yata aditam yatamati, whatever little I know, I'm trying to share. So if there are any comments, questions, corrections, welcome that. Tulsi Saki Mataji.
Hi Krishna Prabhu, thank you for a very nice class. You were mentioning earlier how leaders should be wise,
Yes.
the wisest. And also what I was tying to is, we have Guru na Shishya, Janani na you shouldn't be a mother if, you can't deliver. In the same vein, is it okay to recognize that you need wisdom, and even if you don't have it, to take shelter of those who have it? So even if you become a mother, even if you become a leader, because especially for women, it's like wisdom feels like comes in later years, and motherhood has to come early. So it's like, how do you reverse, if you don't take shelter rather of those who are wise? So whatever service we have, if I have another question also.
Very nice question. So even Maharaj Parikshit, the kings, the Kshatriyas, they would take advice from the Brahmanas. The Brahmanas were very, very wise, and they were also extremely detached. They were not running after positions. So this is something. So if you are in management, you should also have a group of advisors who are Pakka Brahmanas. And as far as your question is concerned, you know, wisdom comes later. So, you know, this is natural process of growth and progress as we grow. But I can tell you personally, you know, your husband is very wise. I've known him for quite a lot of years. So you are very lucky. So you don't have to worry about that. But, you know, there is a saying that, you know, wife never listens to husband and husband never listens to wife. So that is why, and we live in a society. So we have a lot of good well-wishers and friends. So I don't think that should be so much of a problem for you. But I know you're quite humble and you asked that. Hare Krishna.
One more question, if I could.
Yes, Mataji.
So in this, you were towards the end, you were mentioning how Brahma took the demigods to the Vaikuntha planet Shweta Dweep, and then he returns. So there's also the concept that having gone once, you never return from the spiritual planets. So in my mind, I feel that's why you should just aim for Goloka, because you don't want to get caught up here and there. So even out of curiosity, you feel like, oh, you go to Shweta Deep Sea, and then you want to come back so that you can aim for, but then you're like, no, don't think of anything else. I mean, even if it takes whatever, how many ever lifetimes, because you don't want to get caught up. So how is it that they can come?
Yes, so very good question. Actually, I was reading Jiva Goswami's commentary on this. And there Jiva Goswami says they go to the boundary of Shvetadvip. And we see that even the devatas, when they go, you know, they are sitting on the shore or the ocean of milk. They are not able to enter. I mean, they enter, but it's more like the boundary. And then they come back because, you know, they have a service that they need to perform. So that is how I understood, Mataji. But yes, yad gatvana nivartante tad dhama paramamama. I've been reading with Aprameya Krishna Prabhu about Jiva Tattva, because there is this question, or has the Jiva fallen, or is the Jiva eternally, you know, Nitya Baddha? So there is, it took us like almost like 14 days to cover this from various scriptures. And there is in the 22nd chapter of the Madhya Leela teachings of Lord Chaitanya, in the Chaitanya Charitamrita, there are first 15 verses answer this question in extensive, elaborate detail that we are, you know, anyway, it's a large topic, but yes, but once we go back, we don't come. So, but here specifically, Jiva Goswami says that we go to a the demigods went to the boundary of Shvetadvip, not necessarily into the planet. That's how I understood it. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji, thank you for the class. You were talking about great devotee and a good devotee. Of course, we have the shloka in Bhagavad Gita. Shama.
Can you put it a little away from yours?
Okay.
Yeah.
Is it better?
Yeah, better.
Okay. So we also have shloka in the 18th chapter which describe quality. So it seems like that maybe the quality of great devotee, or if you have anything else, can you compare and contrast great devotee and good devotee? And is there any verse for a good devotee? Because all the definition seems to me from Bhagavad Gita, Bhagavatam, all great devotees. So can you give us some reference so that we can make that the mantra of our life to aspire to be pleasing? You told that's good devotee is very pleasing to Krishna.
Here we can see Srila Prabhupada mention in the purport that Krishna, he likes, here Prabhupada says, Lord Krishna is very much pleased with his devotees even if they are not on the topmost stage of devotional service. Prabhupada is saying here that Krishna likes his devotees even if they are not on the topmost stage. So sometimes, the point I was trying to make is that about pretension. Like, you know, as conditioned souls, I mean, I can speak for myself, is sometimes we want to project ourselves as someone we are not. Something we are more elevated than the adhikar that we have. And this is, this I can speak for myself, is Don't try to be a great devotee. Try to be a good devotee. Krishna is pleased wherever you are at, right? And it's not necessary that you have to know everything, you have to be perfect, you have to, be, whatever you do, you have to be the best at it. It's not necessary. Krishna understands that you are trying your best. It's very difficult to control the senses. It's very difficult to chant Hare Krishna. It's very difficult to take shelter of Srimad Bhagavatam. It's very difficult to follow the regulative principles. It's very difficult to tolerate, the frailties of ourselves and other people around us. But in spite of all that, we do it, right? We do Trinadapi Sunichena Taroriva Sahishnuna. We tolerate everything. And then we chant Hare Krishna. So then Krishna is pleased that, okay, this person, even though he may not be great, he is doing it according to his capacity. And then Krishna is pleased. And then he appropriately reciprocates. So that is how I understood this. But if there are other devotees that want to share, if there are any particular verses. Yes, Prabhu?
That was a nice answer. I would like to just add a little bit. I was thinking about Srila Rupa Goswami in Nectar of Devotion talks about Uttamadhikari. So Uttamadhikaris are the ones who are glorified most of the times throughout the pages of Bhagavatam. And the good devotees are those who are struggling sadhakas like us, right? So akama sarva kama va moksha kama tivrena bhakti yogena. Whether with desires or without desires, still sadhaka is, trying to strive for the goal. So that's a good devotee.
I think Prabhupada Priya Mataji had something.
Hare Krishna. Yeah, there's so many nice points in this purport. Thank you for choosing this verse. Yeah, I liked how Srila Prabhupada was glorifying Srimad Bhagavatam, like the verse that we say every morning, that Tato Jayo Mudirayat. This Bhagavatam is our very means of conquest. And Prabhupada really brought that out in the purport, that we have so many enemies. We have antagonistic people, we have the inner enemies of lust, anger, greed, and so forth. And then the ultimate enemy is death, that's going to finish off all of our things in this world. But by taking shelter of Srimad Bhagavatam, we can conquer all of them, even death. And sometimes we think, by my physical strength, by my intelligence, by my education, by my money, by my position, I'm going to conquer, the problems, solve all the problems of life. But really the only solution is Srimad Bhagavatam. And I liked also how you brought out Shri. I was thinking, I kind of like extended on that, like Srimad is like Shri, Srimati, Radharani, and then Bhagavatam is like Bhagavan, Shri Krishna. So we have Radha and Krishna. The Bhagavatam, that's what it's bringing to it, right? The lotus feet of Radha and Krishna. So that's... And then I was thinking also about that point you made about happy birthday. So the kids don't get depressed or guilty thinking we shouldn't sing happy birthday now. We can also look at it in a positive way, that it is kind of happy that out of all the possible, 8,400,000 kinds of births we could have, we got a human birth. So that's something to celebrate, right? Happy human birthday. And then also, especially for children born in devotee families, that's like so glorious. The demigods are lining up to take birth in devotee families, especially now in this time, Kali Yuga, after Lord Chaitanya's appearance. So glorious to take birth in a Vaishnava family. Or, like you were talking about your family, to have a Vaishnava in your family. Even if you weren't born in a Vaishnava family and you're not maybe using the best use of this human life, but at least you have a Vaishnava in your family, which means that all the generations are going to get liberated. So there's a lot of things to be happy about in this human form of life. But the point is that we need to make it happy by making proper use of this human form of life and using it in devotional service. So in that case, when we're saying happy birthday to someone, we can be praying for them and blessing them that may this be a happy birth. May you make the best of this human form of life and chant and be happy and go back to Godhead for an eternal life of happiness with Krishna.
Jai. Thank you so much for sharing that perspective. Hare Krishna. Hey. Oh, Prabhu? Okay, last comment. Mishra Bhagwan Prabhu. No
I
hard
can't-
questions, please.
I can't find it right now, but I read in a letter from Prabhupada that Gaura Lila in the spiritual world is situated within Swetadweep. Have
It's
you
a
ever heard
different
anything?
Shvetadweep.
Does that sound familiar?
Yes, it's a different Shvetadweep.
It's a different Swetadweep. Well, how many Swetadweeps are there?
I don't know. It's quite a lot of them. But that's a different one. Grantraj Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai, Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Shri Radha Kalachandji ki jai, Gaur Premanande Hari Hari Bol.